I've been watching boxing's middleweight division very closely because I have always been a fan of the middleweight division. And I'm looking and I'm seeing that ever since Triple G and Canelo's left the division, it's become barren. I was hoping that Jamal Charlo would reign supreme, but he's turned out to be not so much interested in boxing, to the point where he got stripped of his WBC title and it's ended up in the hands of Carlos Adames. Now, before Carlos Adames had this WBC title, he was very much calling out Yanibek Aninkanule for a fight all over the socials. Instagram, Twitter, he was going in talking about he wants to fight him. Any interview he done, he's talking about he wants to fight Yanibek Aninkanule for his belt. But once he got the WBC title, that went quiet. He went radio silence on that situation with Yanibek Aninkanule, and he's got the belt and holding it tightly. Erislandy Lara has the WBA title. Yanibek has the IBF and the WBO. Now, where these guys don't seem to be unifying, Yanibek is by himself over there on the top rank side of things. Erislandy Lara is with PBC, and I found out that Carlos Adames is also with the PBC. Now, the PBC seems to be kind of like heading out of boxing. I mean, they've only had about 3, 4, maybe 5 shows the whole of this year. We are in November going into December, and I think they're not even having another card this year. It's going into next year. You see a lot of their fighters popping up on different cards all over the world, all down in Mexico. And when the Sheikh came in, he took a few of their fighters and put them on his shows. They all lost. But Carlos Adames and Erislandy Lara have never even spoken about unifying. Or for me, I definitely haven't heard them mention anything about unifying their titles. Now, Hamzah Sheeraz is the #1 contender for the WBO and the WBC. And when he beat Tyler Denny the other day, Frank Warren was going on like he's pushing for him to get a title fight. And it seemed as though he was going the WBO route because the WBO called a mandatory shortly after he beat Tyler Denny to be satisfied and said a purse bid had to be met. Now, at the time, Hamzah Sheeraz was up for it. Yeah, I want to fight any guy that's got a title. Yanibek's got a title. I'm #1 there. I'll fight him. I don't mind. I got this WBO trinket, so I don't mind. I'll fight him. I'm definitely on to fighting Yanibek Aninkanule. Apparently, Yanibek said he didn't have any offers. Queensberry said they sent offers. Yanibek said we haven't had any offers. So the purse bid came into play. And just the other day, the WBO president said that Hamzah Sheeraz has pulled out of the purse bid. So when you hear that, you think, well, Hamzah, why are you ducking, man? Why are you ducking, man? This is not the case. Hamzah Sheeraz is merely a fighter that has no real control of his future and how things are because he's not popular at all. And he's with a big promoter in Frank Warren, and Frank Warren is trying to guide him through. I think Frank Warren's son manages Hamzah. Don't quote me. I mean, if I'm not right, please correct me. But I believe that Frank Warren's son manages Hamzah, and they're the ones that handle all of these type of things. Purse bids being met or purse bids being applied for and all of this type of stuff. So they've pulled him out of the purse bid. But now I'm hearing that he is going to go into a fight with Carlos Adames on a rehab season card. Carlos Adames has been on Twitter talking about, I want to fight somebody. But PBC seem to be very low on their scheduling of fighters doing things. And where they're only putting on 1 and 2 cards, they can only put so much amount of fighters on these cards. Carlos Adames is kind of like being left to the wayside. So it seems like he will be on a rehab season card next year. I think it's February. So with that being said, we should be having Hamzah Sheeraz versus Carlos Adames in February. The talk is that both parties have accepted the offer, but nothing has been signed as yet. So where the PPC has both Erislandy Lara and Carlos Adames, with Erislandy Lara having their WBA title, Hamzah Sheeraz is at #6 in their reckoning. Now, if they work like the WBC, which is their sister company, sister sanctioning body, so they do most probably work the same way in certain fields. And the WBC said anybody in their top 10 can be the contender at that moment, whoever they pick in their top 10. Now, Hamzah Sheeraz is definitely in the top 10 of the WBA. He's number 1 with the WBC and he's number 1 with the WBO. The WBO he's pulled out of that purse bid, so let's scrap that for now. He's also number 4 with the IBF, but he's definitely not going that route. It seems like his team are not wanting him to fight Yanibek at this moment. They would rather him fight Carlos Adames, it seems like. As I said, Adames became the WBC champion following Jamal Charlo being stripped and has defended the belt with a dominant unanimous decision win over Terrell Gausha. He's from Dominica and he is a pressure fighter. Where Hamzah Sheeraz comes across as a boxer puncher, he has the tactical advantage over Carlos Adames. And experience, I would put that in Adames' favour. I would say he's a bit scrappy though, and his punches seem to be hook orientated. He doesn't throw many straight punches. Even his jab has a bit of a hook to it. I believe that this works all in Hamzah Sheeraz's favour, and I think that his handlers have looked at all the different champions and said, right, this is the one. He's number 1 here anyway, but this is the one that will be easier for us to get a title from. And then we'll go after the rest. I'm assuming that's what they're saying. So let's see what happens. Does he get the fight with Adames or Erislandy Lara? I'm thinking that it's going to be Carlos Adames because that's where the news is heading. So we'll see how that goes. And when it comes to fruition as to who he's fighting, we'll talk about that fight more in depth. But as for now, I will see you guys in the next video.